Hey guys, so welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. So today's guest is Neil Firszt. And Neil, welcome.
Thanks, Extus. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, awesome. So Neil, what type of coaching, I guess in essence, do you consider yourself a coach or consultant?
A coach.
Coach. And what
Yeah.
type of coaching business do you run?
Well, I help people out of anxiety and addiction. Out of the victim stories that we use to sabotage our lives.
Awesome. So anxiety and addiction. Mm-hmm. Now,
Correct.
yeah, what got you started with your business?
Well, it comes from my experience with anxiety and addiction. A few years ago, I was just kind of at the end of my rope. I had been to detox for alcohol like probably 10 times in my life. And in October 2016, I was in detox, and I left the hospital with the news that they didn't know how long I was going to live, because I had torn up my insides so bad, my organs, like my kidneys, my liver, stuff like that, pancreas was just horrible. So they didn't give me the greatest prognosis. But about a year after that, I kind of had like a moment, like I woke up, I guess.
Yeah.
I was about to take a shower. I walked past the full length mirror, and obviously I was in my shower clothes, which is nothing. And I looked in the mirror. I was like, "Oh, dude!" And I felt horrible, and I was all fat, and I'm like, wow. I just looked at myself, and I was like, Neil, what did you create, man? What is going on here? And I just started crying, and I just started really being honest with myself. And that lasted a couple hours, and it went into the next couple days and stuff. And I started to just be honest with myself, and I decided to start making different choices there. And choices were eating better, exercising, and like meditating, and really learning who I am from my heart, and not from that status, that surface, that chasing money thing. And about 6 months after that, I was down 75 pounds. I went to the doctor. Everything that the doctors told me that was going to kill me. The results were the exact opposite. So I had healed everything, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I could teach this to people. Yeah. Right. And I just started learning. I started learning more about exactly how the body works and what I did. Cause I just started trusting myself. And so I started learning about like what meditation does, how to eat, how to do all this stuff, and take what anxiety and addiction, like how did I become an alcoholic? Why was I smoking cigarettes? Why was I on Xanax? Why was I on all these pills? And it just formulated into something that I really knew that I can give back to the world. I made a promise to myself: if I ever get out of this, if I ever at my worst, at my lowest, if I ever get out of this, I'm going to spend the rest of my life helping people do the same. And that's why I'm here now.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And that is so powerful as well, too, because I know that as we go through life, we all end up in certain places. We don't expect to be there, but we end up in like certain places to where there has to be a decision made, whether we keep going on the same path or whether we take a different route. And it seems like you definitely took that different route. So in essence, yeah, in your own story as well, too, how do you, because I believe that's one of the most powerful things we can do, which is figure something out for ourselves, and then once we figure it out, then be able to teach it to other people as well too, because I know there's a lot of other people who they're going through some of the same similar things we've been through as well too. So what would you say is would be the biggest, like the thing that made, because I know most people who get into this here, it's one of those things where you get on a track but you fall off. So what has kept you just going on this path? How do you doing?
Well, what's kept me going on this path is I've realized that there's really only one place to look.
Hmm.
You know, we kind of blame our environment. You know, like we chase certain things. We chase things outside of ourselves. So rather than do that, rather than thinking that something else is going to make me better, rather than thinking that the answers outside of me, I keep looking inside and I keep finding the answers because I'm the one who's putting up the obstacles in my life, and that's the saying where you're your own worst enemy, right?
Fine.
Well, it's true. You know, I've been I've been meditating for 3 hours a day for the past 53 days. Okay.
Hmm.
And what I find in meditation is I actually sit through the sabotage, right? When I'm sitting there, and I call it the bullshit machine. Or the ego to me is the bullshit machine. It's the book that I'm writing right now too.
Hmm.
But I'm sitting there, and the ego's telling me, hey, you gotta go send this email, or you're not good enough to do this, or who's going to listen to you because you were just an alcoholic a few years ago and you were this and that. And it's I really start to see that the ego's trying to set up all these obstacles for me. And what we do is we're so used to chasing what we think, right? Because we're all under a program.
Hmm.
We're so used to chasing what we think because we think it. Well, what I know now is that when I can sit through that and I can understand where all of that stuff is coming from, and I'm not chasing that other stuff that's outside of me, not taking the extra steps to
Hmm.
actually get to my path. Think about it like this: you're on the highway, right?
Hmm.
And the bullshit machine wants you to get off at the exit, right? I have a goal, let's just say, to make $1 million. Yeah, but
Fine.
you got to do this, 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 and all of a sudden, I have this big pile of this big mountain that I can't get over, or
Hmm.
it's going to take me extra time to get over. Um, and it's basically just getting it. Like if you're on that highway, the bullshit machine is gonna make you get off at the exit just to get back on the highway,
Hmm.
based off of something that may have not worked in the past or whatever. And enduring that, like sitting through my own thoughts, the things that's running through my head, that's the thing that really allows me, when I'm not in meditation, I don't have to focus on the stuff that doesn't matter,
Hmm.
because I learned what matters to me, right? I get to filter out all the stuff I saw on Facebook or whatever's on the news or whatever the politicians are trying to tell us.
Hmm.
I get to filter through that and know that nobody can promise me a life that I can't give myself,
Fine.
right? People are trying to advertising, politicians, everybody's trying to promise you a life that they can never, ever deliver. And instead of chasing that, I endure my own stuff, and just realize where that stuff is coming from, and I make what's important, not what's not important. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense.
Awesome.
And that is so powerful as well, too, because something you said as far as looking for the answers on the inside, because it's so true how when we find ourselves in situations where either things aren't going right or all of these different things, we either find something external to blame. And I
Right.
really believe that if you're someone, especially on your journey, if you're blaming the external, then there's not very much hope for you, because again, you're never going to take full responsibility for the issues, the challenges, the things that only you could fix, right? But once you take that full responsibility, that's where the whole game changes for you. And it seems like you've definitely done a lot of that for yourself, because I know most individuals who get into whether it's a coach and consultant, they haven't really been through the thing and they're kind of doing it. But for you, you've actually been there, you've gone through it yourself, you've worked through the challenges, and now you're coming back to help others. So in essence, what do you help your clients with? Where are they typically at when they do find you?
Well, my clients are typically not, they're not always addicted to, let's just say, drugs or alcohol or Facebook. What happens is they're addicted to their way of being. We're addicted to our fears. For me, that's why alcoholism. I was so addicted to my own fear of who I thought I was. I was stuck in a story. So my clients are stuck in a story of who I think I am. Right? If I'm a guy, if I have clients that well, I'm a guy that makes $100,000. Well,
Mhm.
if that $100,000 goes away, then who are you? Well, I would fall apart. Well, let's learn that you're greater than that $100,000. Let's learn that you're greater than your whole story. Like I said, we're addicted to our fear. Fear's a chemical. Stress is a chemical. Guilt is a chemical. It's all stuff that makes us feel a certain way. And when we don't want to feel that way, what do we choose? A lot of times, well, I feel scared, so, or I feel fear, I feel stressed out, so I'm going to go to the bar, or I'm going to go buy a new car, or I'm going to do something outside of myself to make me feel better. So basically, my clients are addicted to their own bullshit.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
And most of the planet is, but the people who find me are, they're ready to change. They're ready to transcend their stories,
Mhm.
right? They're ready to transcend that thing that well, I'm a guy that makes $100,000. Well, what if $1,000,000 came in? Then who are you? Well, I don't know. I can't handle that. Well,
Mhm.
let's get you to that point where you can handle that, where something like that is normal, because you are greater than that 100 grand. You're a billionaire. You're a trillionaire. You're infinite and powerful and beautiful.
Yeah, that's wonderful, man. So in essence, and you said you have a book, you're writing a book as well too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
what's the name of the book?
It's called The Bullshit Machine: Transcending, transcending. What the? I can't think of it right now. Transcending the belief of who we think we are.
Yeah, yeah, that's so powerful because when we narrow it all down to the bare minimum, it's as you said, it's just a story. We're all telling ourselves a story, and we're telling it over and over and over again until it becomes so solid that it just defines us, and we're in a sense stuck. Whereas I
Right.
realized that there's a different way to live, and I think that was my story for my whole until I was like maybe in my late 20s or something, which is, hey, this is my one story, and that's just what it is. I realized that the most successful people, they've learned to overcome those stories. Like if you could figure out how to override and overcome those stories and always be developing and creating new stories for yourself, that's where massive leverage and power is, especially in terms of just getting better results out of life and stuff like that. So what's your process? What process do you kind of take your clients through? Like how do you get them from how they, when they have the story that keeps them stuck, that keeps them from progressing, to being able to get up to that next level? What's that? How do you help? What's the process that you take them through?
Well, the process I take them through is, first I want to hear what people have to say. I
Hmm.
want to hear what people are telling themselves. And then I'm going to dissect it. I'm going to rip it apart and be like, here, you're telling yourself this story. You're telling yourself this story. You're telling yourself this story. And it's bringing awareness to the stories that we tell ourselves. And once you're aware of these stories, once you're aware of, I, I, I need to do something to be something, or when this happens, I'll be happy. Once you're aware of what you're doing, or how you're telling yourself these stories in your life, it makes it a lot easier to actually. And it's not really an overcome. It's more of a just kind of let that story just kind of play out. A lot of what everybody who works with me learns meditation, because meditation is so important. And that's another thing that like really boosts our immune system is meditation. So, but learning how to endure your own stories, learning how to endure those things, especially when you're aware of them, and just let that stuff play out. You're adapting to what what those sensations are in your body. Let me just give you an example real quick. Every thought is going to, is your body reacts to all of your thoughts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in fear, you can feel where fear is in your body. If you feel like you're in lack, you can feel where lack is in your body. So in meditation, you're just sitting and you're letting the story run, and adapting to the sensation in your body. Once you know where that is and you realize that you're not that story anymore, you can evolve out of that and create a brand new space to create from.
Mm-hmm.
Once that story gets ripped out of you, that who I think I think I'm this guy at 100 grand. Take that out of there. You're a billionaire, right? And
Right.
once you realize that you're way, way more than that, you have a brand new space to create a new life. If you're creating from I could only make 100 grand, then that's all you can see, right? I want you to see way, way bigger than that, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what you are.
Yeah, yeah, powerful stuff. So in essence, I heard you say you meditate about you spend about 3 hours per day. You've been meditating.
I started that once when the quarantine came to pass, and I was like, wow, I had never done it before. I'd
Mm-hmm.
never meditated for 3 hours before, and I tried it once, and then I went the next day. About a week in, I put one on Facebook Live. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm just going to keep doing it and keep doing it. And Extus, wow, the insights that come up are just absolutely phenomenal, because I'm shedding my old stories, and I'm not somebody with answers. I'm somebody who can help you open the door,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to walk through it. But when that door is open, you realize that you are in the prison of your own story. You just walk right out and you just create who you really are, not who people told you you are.
Mm-hmm.
Our program is filled with what our parents thought we were, what our coaches, what our teachers thought we were, what our friends thought we were. And that's our connection to those people. But once we realize that story doesn't serve us anymore, we can open the door and actually pull those people up with us.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you get what I'm saying?
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
definitely. Okay, so now in essence, because of your story, you have a pretty powerful story as well too. So what's that vision that you see based on you sharing your story? What's that vision that you see in terms of impacting the world? What's that vision that you have?
Well, here, you know what? I actually the other day I was sitting in meditation, and have you ever heard the song "Imagine" by John Lennon?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 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 a vision of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Making imagine happen. And what it is, like he says, imagine there's no religion. Well, I got right, and people get very, very stuck on what religion teaches and stuff like that. But what
Mm-hmm.
if you're bigger than those teachings? What if you're the universe? What if you have God powers, and the religion is just to kind of keep you grounded? You know, it's my whole goal is to make imagine happen. But by doing that, I want to teach people to realize exactly how powerful they are individually, right? I don't want to create more Neil First. We got one. Believe me, that's plenty.
Yeah, you're the
I
first,
want to
right?
teach people, right? I want to teach people, hey, listen, if you don't have to chase status, who
Mm-hmm.
can you be? If you're keeping your personal power for you, and to actually affect the planet in like the most powerful way possible, and you're not chasing what you saw in the commercial, or you're not chasing money, but money's a byproduct of all the great things you're doing, right? If you're chasing money, you're making 100 grand. Well, what if millions of dollars, you're missing out on millions of dollars as a byproduct of actually being who you are, not what somebody else told you are.
Mm-hmm.
So my vision of the planet is just to like calm down, and actually just realize that we're all purpose.
Hmm.
If the thing beating your heart is still beating your heart, your purpose, you're always in purpose. And the more people that realize that, the less arguments, right? I barely get mad at anybody anymore, but the less arguments we have, the less shit we're chasing after, the less BS we're telling ourselves, the less BS we're telling our kids. Make the world a safer place, a better place for everybody. Make Imagine happen.
Right, right. Love it. And with your book, how long have you been writing your book? I know most individuals who write books, they it's a long process. But how long with your book? How long have you been working through it?
I've been working on it about 5 months now.
5 months. Okay, cool. Does
So
that have
I
your
should be done. I should be done before the end of May.
Okay, okay, good. Does that have your full story in there as well? So like everything you've kind of been through?
Yes.
What's yeah, pretty
Yeah, it's
cool.
going to have everything. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. Because again, from the interview, you've definitely been through you have a lot of stories in there. I could tell.
there you
So I'd definitely love to check it out. So question now becomes, out of all the skills you've learned over your years, as far as doing what you've done to be where you are today, what would you say is that one skill that's got you? I know there's probably a lot of them, but what's a one skill you'd say that you've developed that's really got you to where you are today?
the one skill let's see, being who I am,
Hmm.
learning to trust who I am. And you might not think trust is a skill, but
Hmm.
trust is a huge skill, because it allows you to bring the right people in your life. It allows you to attract the right people in your life when you trust your judgment of yourself. You trust your own judgment of what's coming next, and you don't have to rely on, hey, what's this all about, what's this all about. Being present in the moment and
Hmm.
being able to trust, that's a skill that I think everybody should have.
Yeah, yeah, being able to trust. Okay. Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think most people don't trust their judgment? Why do you think that is?
I Because there's so many people talking, right? There's like here, think about the current situation right now. Um, you have information being changed every single day. One day masks are good, next day masks are bad. Dip yourself in Purell. Like there's so much conflicting information. Who is there to trust? So what I teach is that learn to trust yourself, because when you trust yourself, you have all your power. You're where power comes from. Your power comes from you. Being infinite comes from you. Everything comes from you. It's how you feel about the way you feel is how you're going to how you're going to take your next step. And if you can trust you, then your next step is always going to be the right step.
Yeah, yeah, lovely. Yeah, I know in my own journey as well too. That's definitely one thing I keep coming back to a realization of as well too, because I remember going through phases in my own life as I continued to grow my business where it's just you're really seeking the answers out there. You're trying to see who has the answers, and then when you go out there trying to find the answers, there's so much conflicting information. It's like, where do I start? And now you go
Right.
from a whole place of just not be you just a whole bunch of unsureness in your sense, not sure about anything. Versus I find the more I kind of disconnect and disassociate to everything that's going around and more go internal, that's where, as you mentioned, that sureness comes about. And that's when I find that I'm able to perform way, way better, because now I'm coming from a place of, okay, this is something I've decided, this is what's important to me versus what someone else
Yeah.
has made important and they think I should be doing, in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And I think life is showing us a whole lot of that right now. I think life is giving us an opportunity, especially with the quarantine.
Hmm.
Life is giving everybody the opportunity to look inward, because when you look outside of ourselves, there's nothing but chaos, nothing but chaos. And if we keep inputting that, Your brain is a computer. It's got to keep trying to figure that out. And it's trying to keep you safe from all this conflicting information. Well, take that out, right? And be with what's actually in here. Let some of the input just kind of drain out and understand who we really are, what we really are. If you can, if everybody knew that they were purpose, Extus, how how would the planet change?
It'd be unbelievable.
Right. Right. And it's not doing, I don't teach people to do what I say. I don't want people to follow what I say. I want people to be able to trust their hearts. And that's what I teach.
Yeah, I love it. So what would be the best way if someone wanted to reach out, someone this message that really resonated with someone out there and they wanted to reach out, what would be the best way to get in contact with you?
You could reach me on my website, neilfirst.com. My email is neil@neilfirst.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. Find me on Instagram. All the regular social media stuff. Those are the easiest ways. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it, love it. Awesome, Neil. Well, hey man, it was definitely a pleasure having you on there. And I guess before we end, do you have any final thoughts as far as just to the viewers?
Meditate. I'll give you just something real quick on meditation. If you can't sit with yourself for 15 minutes, just think about that. You can't sit with yourself. If you can't sit with yourself, how are you going to trust your own self, right? How are you going to trust the decisions that you make? So start learning to trust yourself. There's a lot of space. There's a lot of answers in the silence.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So, guys, I would definitely say take what Neil just said here to heart because it's some pretty powerful stuff as well, too. Because I know looking at external, that's one phase, but if you really want to take your game up to the next level, internal is where it's at. See what's going on within you and stay there, spend more time there. So, with that being said, Neil, hey, thank you so much for stopping by, man. Really, really appreciate it. And we
Thank
shall
you.
be in touch, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Extus. I
Thank-
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It's
We'll
great
talk
talking
soon.
to you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.